morning! Did I say good morning too fast then? I think I did. Right, okay, hang on. Let me just get ready to go for the day. I've just been having my breakfast, the old protein pancakes, and now ready and set for the day. So thought I'd do a little film. I'm on my way down to Burton today to see the team down there. Beautiful, glorious day after the downpour that was the thunderstorm yesterday. So good to see the sun out. Fun fact, put the washing out yesterday, and the second I did, it got absolutely drenched, so the towels are currently on the line. Not really sure if you wanted to hear that, but it is what it is. So let's start today's video with hi, good morning, hope everyone is good. Committed, didn't I, to doing these videos in the car, so I thought I'd do one this morning. Quick update on the old stores. So opening the 13th store in about 2 weeks. Really exciting. This business started in January we opened with 5 stores, and now we've got 13, and we'll have 17 by the end of the year. It's just absolutely crazy. The team are just amazing. Bravo Auto, growing from strength to strength. So yeah, really exciting. But today thought I'd just share a little bit of a story around a message I received on LinkedIn this week. So basically it was from a gentleman on LinkedIn who was looking to get into a head of business position, and was at this moment in time struggling because I didn't have any experience, and they were asking me if I had any advice or any tips. Sorry by the way if this is wobbling, but we all know I've got the £5 holder, haven't I, from Amazon. So basically he was asking me what advice I would give somebody who hasn't been in the industry and who hasn't been in that role before, and how to get into it. So I thought I'd really just go down a few bits of advice on that. So I've had so many no's in my career in terms of applying for things and not being successful, or applying for promotions and not getting them and saying I wasn't ready. However, every single no just got me closer to that next yes, and that's the way you've got to see rejection. And this is in personal life as well as work life. You know, there's definitely going to be a lot of no's about certain things in your life, whether that be, you know, trying to find a prospective partner or trying to find the right job. But if those no's get consistently taken as knocks all of the time, then all that's going to do is just, you know, diminish your desire to proceed, and also probably, you know, knock your confidence a little bit. Because I remember when I used to get no's for jobs that I'd applied for, and it would knock my confidence, and I'd think, you know, is there something wrong with me? Am I doing things incorrectly? Do I need to change the track that I'm on? This was, you know, before I joined Mercedes and joined Inchcape. But then, you know, obviously there's been jobs within Inchcape that I've applied for that I haven't been successful in, and I've been told I need to wait a little bit of time. So you have to see every single no as a really positive thing, and I know that that's difficult to do, and I know it's hard to switch the view on that, because in life when we get told no, we're intrinsically taught from being a child that no is a bad thing, and no, you're not having that, or if you don't do this and you can't have that. So, you know, as children we're very much managed into a behaviour that's driven by cause and effect. And, you know, the answer is no, you can't have any more sweets because you haven't done this, or the answer is no, you can't watch this, or you can't go out with your friends because you haven't done this. So we automatically think no is a negative thing, whereas I really have flipped my perception now on a no, and I see it as, okay, it wasn't the right time for me, wasn't the right path for me, wasn't the right thing for me to be pursuing, and if it isn't the right time now, then there will be a right time in the future. And I think the biggest learning curve for that can come from a personal relationship, because I speak to so many people who are, you know, so many of my friends are, I say friends and colleagues, so many people I know are trying to find, you know, that right person, and every time they meet someone and it doesn't work out, they take that as a really personal knock, and it can be really difficult. And of course, you know, we've all felt that, whereas each and every one of those wrong experiences is just moving them out the way and sifting them out the way to get you closer to the right one. So that's something that's really important to remember, and most definitely tie that into your career. So every single no, thank you for that, really appreciative, really grateful. The good news about this is that now I'm one step closer to my next yes. That was my first bit of advice. But then my second bit of advice was, and this can be used for anything, a task in work, it can be used for a goal within the gym, it can be used for a fitness thought, for anything it can be worked back to. And that basically is that all of us want something in life, so whether that be we want a specific job or we want a specific house. However, to get from where we are now to get to that place, it's a journey. There's a distance between the two. And all you have to do, it's totally simple, is look to where the end point is. So look at where, right, okay, I want to have a job running my own business. Well, okay, what is that business first and foremost? And then all you need to do is work backwards and work it back to where you are now. So I remember years ago when I was selling cars and I was working in Mercedes Liverpool, and funnily enough, actually, I bumped into my old boss a couple of weekends ago, and he actually said that this was one of the things that he remembered about me, which he said to me. He said, I knew because of that you'd go far. So we'll see if some of the other stupid things, like, because I used to make some mistakes in work, but those mistakes, you know, we all make mistakes. They were a learning curve for me. Once I've made a mistake once, don't make it again. But this wasn't a mistake. This was a good thing that I used to do. So basically every single day I'd go in and I would have worked out at the beginning of the month how much money I wanted to earn. And as a salesperson, I was based on commission. And a lot of people who are listening to this, who are salespeople, will probably be paid in the same way, because salespeople are usually paid in that way because, of course, it drives you to sell more. And I used to think, right, okay, forget what my salary is, forget what my on-target earnings is. What do I want to earn to meet the, number one, the expenditure I've got this month, but then number two, to be able to then do nice things on top of, sunglasses on, do nice things on top of what my bills are, etc, etc. And all I would do then is I would work it back to how many cars I would need to sell. Then I would work it back to how many customers I need to speak to on my current conversions. So say I was converting 30% of all customers I spoke to. In the end, I was converting a lot higher than that because I got really, really good at the process. But all I would do is just work that back. So say I wanted to sell 50 cars that month, I'd base it on, okay, well that means I need to speak to 150 customers, that means I need to test drive this many customers, and then that means I need to close this many. Factually, that would work. And every single month I would come in there or thereabouts where I needed to be. Now obviously, you know, there'd be the odd occasion, whereby I'd have a holiday or I'd take some time off work, and therefore naturally, because you're just not in work that amount of time, then things need to take a pause and you need to, you know, reconfigure things for that month. But genuinely it would work. And it also works in the gym. So for example, if you go to the gym 5 times a week, 3 times a week, you know, whatever you can fit in, 3-4 times a week, you consistently do that, you're going to get a result. So therefore, if you want to weigh X amount, or if you want to look like, you know, like a certain shape or sculpt, work back from that how many times you would need to train, or how many times you would need to dedicate a week in terms of hours, how many hours a week you need to dedicate in terms of training. Consistency brings results. That's just what happens. Committing to your commitments is absolutely crucial. And I've mentioned on some of my previous videos, you know, that I'm on this journey, on the bodybuilding journey, and I'm due to compete actually November the 13th. So that is now getting very close. And I'm finally now in my cutting phase. So the cardio has now started, and in a small calorie deficit. Although my coach is brilliant and still allowing me, I haven't really cut anything out really. You know, I'm still having 3 really good meals a day. Had the odd Kit Kat there and there, which definitely shouldn't probably have had, but it is what it is. The point that I'm saying is that I'm on a structured plan to get to where I need to be. Is it easy? No. Is it absolutely incredibly the hardest thing I've ever done in my life? No. What it is doing though, it's teaching me discipline. And the person who I am now in the mornings, when I wake up and I think, right, okay, I need to go to work, and after I've gone to work I need to make sure I've got my gym stuff so I can go to the gym, then I need to come home, do my meal prep, get to bed, make sure that I'm in bed for 9:30, 10 o'clock. Is that absolutely the thing I want to be doing every single day? No. But then the person that I'm doing this for is the Rebecca in 2.5 months' time that stands on the stage and is able to stand there and go, you've done all you could, Beck. You know, you've done hard, you've worked hard, you're in a really good shape, and you've proven to yourself that you can do something. And I'm doing this for my future self, for the future Rebecca. So when I talk about this journey of working back from where you are, that gap might seem quite far, and you may think, well, I don't have any experience doing this, or I've never been to the gym before, or I've never changed my eating habits. I've always, you know, eaten 2 or 3 takeaways a week. And when I say takeaways, I don't mean the old adage of, you know, now we're eating Chinese's and McDonald's 2 or 3 times a week. That isn't what a takeaway is anymore, because you've got the likes of Deliveroo and Uber Eats, etc. You can get, you know, really healthy stuff now delivered to home, which I do quite a lot actually, because just around work commitments and things, I don't always have the time to go to the supermarket. I've got the time to cook, just haven't got the time to go to the supermarket, which sounds ridiculous because of course you can get online delivery, but I'm one of those control freaks that likes to pick my own food at the best dates on. But I'm digressing again. But the point I'm saying is that the gap between those two can be daunting, and it can seem, well, I'm never going to get there, so what's the point? I'm not going to start. You need to start for the future self that will thank you for all the stuff that you've done along the way, and think about those feelings. Now, think about how the feelings you will have when you start to see momentum in achieving those results. And of course, when you start to see momentum, that's then when you start to get those small little claps of encouragement on your back, where you think, do you know what, yeah, actually I have done this for the last few weeks and I am actually starting to see a result. This morning, for example, I did my check-in and I'd dropped another couple of pounds, yeah, just over £1.50, and I actually didn't think I'd done that well in the last week, because I definitely did eat a full Sunday roast dinner on Sunday, which probably wasn't on my plan, and then yeah, just went on to eat just a few other bits which I probably shouldn't have eaten. So I was worried a little bit. But the good thing about when, you know, you fall off slightly is you just get straight back on track. Don't then think, okay, that's my be all and end all, that now is how I'm going to be. You've just got to go, okay, day finished, move on, start again in the morning. And by the way, just asterisk, flash, I am not saying that Sunday dinner is bad. Sunday dinners are absolutely amazing, and you know, they are a staple meal. What I'm saying is that because I'm on quite a strict plan at the moment, because of course I'm going into a competition, that wasn't what was on my plan for that meal for that day. However, 100%, and you know, a roast dinner is the best thing ever, with Yorkshire puddings, lots and lots of gravy. So the good news is that this morning when I checked in, I was like, hang on a minute, actually I haven't done as bad as I thought. And that's because, yeah, even though on Sunday I wasn't as strict as I could have been, Monday morning I was straight back on it. So that one small day hasn't affected anything. It's like when people say, oh, I can't have that, I can't eat that, it'll you know, it'll ruin everything. One burger doesn't make you fat, and one salad does not make you thin, which I'm sure a million people have heard that, you know, that analogy. Of course it doesn't. It's behaviours over time that improve things. It's behaviours over time, consistent behaviours over time, which have the best changes. And I was saying actually this morning to my partner, I was saying that I'm nearly at the weight that I started at. So I started at £148. That's the weight I started at when I started this journey of training, and I'm now £149 a year later. And I said to him this morning, I said, oh, I'm nearly at the weight I started at. And then he was like, Beck, but your body composition is totally different. So, you know, it's a good thing, of course, you know, that I was like, oh yeah, I'm nearly where I was, but 100% when I look at photos as to where I was versus where I am now, my body composition is totally different. I was always lean, I've always been slim, my whole life I've always been slim, and it's now at the point whereby, I think in truth, I'll actually do a video on this one day, but I used to have quite a serious eating disorder. And with an eating disorder, it doesn't ever, I feel, ever really leave you. The thoughts do stay with you. The actions, the byproduct of it may go, but the thoughts sometimes around behaviours around food and things are quite difficult to overcome. And, you know, years ago, I never would have shared that. I'd have been very cautious to say anything about it, because it was still my little best friend, I suppose, which you often find with things like an eating disorder, and I can only say this from my own personal experience, this is no one else's opinion, just mine, that the more secretive it was for me, the more fuel that added to it, because it was like mine and the eating disorder's little secret. Whereas being able to vocalise it now and being able to talk about it removes a lot of its power. And I'm sure that could be said with a lot of other, I would call my eating disorder an addiction, is the truth. It was an addiction. And I think that when things are secretive, that they can almost become a lot more powerful. So that's why now I'm very open to talking about it. But I actually can't remember now the reason why I brought that up in the first place. But I'd say that what this journey has taught me is that I remember now. I'd say what this journey has taught me is that the bodybuilding hasn't been about restricting myself or changing my eating habits to the point whereby I no longer want to eat certain foods. I've always been quite controlled of what I eat anyway. What it's actually done is educate me massively on the benefits of food, what they do, what food does for you, the fuel of it. I no longer restrict myself on bread. I used to think bread and carbohydrates were literally like the devil, whereas now I eat all carbs. I love bread. Don't really tolerate pasta very well with my stomach, so that isn't really something I like or want to eat. But I would eat anything now, absolutely anything. I go to McDonald's, I have burgers. I've even had Five Guys. I had my first Five Guys for the first time ever only a few months ago, and that was because I used to restrict myself so much and not allow myself to eat things. And it was all because I was so uneducated really about the benefits of food, and that's probably why, and exercise, which is probably why the eating disorder fueled itself for as long as it did. But again, I don't really want to go into that too much on, anyone who's listened to this thinks it's a sales video and now I'm going on about an eating disorder. I suppose what I'm trying to say really is that, I'm definitely not perfect. None of us are perfect. We've all got things which maybe people don't think, a lot of things going on in our lives which people would never think, and I hid that very, very well for a very long time. But the benefits of the training that I've been doing have educated me so much about my body, educated me so much about how my calorie expenditure and how many calories I just generally need to eat each day, that now I live such a less restricted, that's better English, Rebecca. I live such a less restricted life now around food because I understand it so much more. So you can even use that same analogy then with things around work or things around career expectations. A lot of the reason why we fear the gap between where we are now and where we need to be is a lack of knowledge, and it's because we don't know the answers between those gaps. Now sometimes that will require physical action. So for example, the gym, when we need to get the gap between our bodies, where we are now and where we want to be, that's physical action which is taken, and a lot of people will seek advice from a PT, etc. And I'd encourage you to do exactly the same when you are looking at something career-wise. If you have a gap between where you are now and where you want to be, so whether it's in sales or whether it's you're a solicitor or whether you're an accountant or whether you're going into a certain field, you need to just find the experts in that field and draw as much possible information from them as you can. Now, I'm of course not an expert in the latter fields I just mentioned. However, I would like to think that I do know my stuff when it comes to sales, and quite a bit about business actually as well. So this is whereby when I have a gap of knowledge, I'm not afraid to ask. And I'll go and ask whoever is the expert in that area, even if it's somebody I don't know. I'll find who that person is, contact them on social media, and you'll also find so many people are willing to help. People who are at the top of their game are there because they've had help along the way, and they know the struggle that you're going through to get to where you want to be. And a massive part for me of my success now is being able to help others and share little things I've learned along the way, because teaching is most definitely the greatest form of learning, 100%. Being able to recite something back and learn a process or system that you've used and giving that back to somebody, you see it in a totally different angle. So don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask people for the help that you need to get from where you are now to where you want to be. And you know, other than that, and I suppose I do a little bit of a loop and a round robin now, back to where I started, even though I've spoken about 1,001 things. A slight tangent derail there, but if you have something that you want to do, just don't allow no to be the first and only stepping block in that journey. You know, it has to be no is the basis for negotiation. That's the way I used to say things. My sister always says that's what I'm like. No is the starting point for negotiation, most definitely. You've just got to work back that plan. If you're going on holiday somewhere, what do? You book your flights, you book your train, you book wherever you're going, and then you know what the destination is, and then you've worked out the journeys, the different modes of transport you need to take to get there. It's exactly the same with anything in your life, and I genuinely mean that. And to just come back onto that relationship point I mentioned before, you've got to put yourself into the right frame of mind to be able to attract the right person that you want. And that's a very, very difficult one, because sometimes when you're in a place whereby you're looking to meet somebody and you can't find the person that you want, you can almost start to lose sight of the person that you want to be, who will attract that kind of person, because obviously it can be a difficult time, and you know, it can feel quite lonely and quite isolating. And I think when that happens, all of those qualities which you naturally possess, which the kind of person that you're trying to find, you'd naturally radiate, that they can almost become a little bit diminished, because of course it can be a difficult time and you can feel a bit low and stuff. So always just have the confidence and knowledge that the right person is out there, and ultimately keep shining and emanating the person who you truly really are. And I promise you that right person will come along. I absolutely promise. And of course, fulfillment always isn't in finding another. Fulfillment ultimately is in yourself. And this is where I'm saying about how if you lose those natural qualities sometimes along the way, which make you as a person ultimately shine, because you're constantly trying to find happiness and fulfillment in things external to you, then that's when the path can sometimes get a little bit lost. But ultimately, everything starts and ends with you, just with you. So you have to be comfortable in your own skin. You have to be happy being around yourself. You have to be happy spending time with others, but then being willing to just go, okay, well, I'm going to go home now and I'll see you all later, kind of thing. I found a lot of comfort in actually starting to like who I was, and it took a long time. I'm 38 now, and it only happened in the past few years, but it does happen. You've just got to persist with it and get to know who you really are, rather than who you're constantly trying to be. But anyway, I've definitely rambled there for a good 23 minutes. 23 minutes of a ramble, and it's just me talking in the car. If there's someone still watching this, well done, absolutely first class for persisting and listening to me. I definitely started this conversation with rambling on about towels and putting the washing out, and now I finished it with my life story and personal fulfillment. Who would have known, eh? Okay, well look, hope everyone's having a brilliant day. As I said, heading over to Burton, so I should be there soon. Might do a few clips actually when I get there, show you how the store's coming on. And be sure to like, subscribe. I haven't said that in ages because I don't know, it sounds a bit YouTubey, doesn't it? But I do need to say that, so please subscribe, and if you're still here. And have a brilliant day, and I'll do some more ride with me soon. Have a wonderful day, guys. Take care. Bye bye.